Welcome to the Car Guys, and this week we have a complete antidote to all the seriousness and depression that's going around at the moment. We're going to look at our top 10 favourite movie cars.
Honestly, cannot wait for this. This is like peak excitement for me. Boz,
I know, I'm so excited.
you may not agree with our top 10 list, then you never do, but this, ladies and gentlemen, is going to blow your tiny little mind.
Yes, 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 this is it. The ultimate look at movie cars. I am so excited about this, and I know what's coming up.
I think that we could have had this list interchange itself about 20 or 30 different times.
Easily.
I mean, I've been thinking about this probably for the last week about how, what cars are movie cars, which cars are not movie cars, what car are TV series cars, because sometimes they get confused. Well, at least I get confused.
Yep.
Some cross over because some are in TV shows that were then movies, or movies that were then TV shows.
So what we've decided is to make a clear delineation between the movie and the TV as best as we can. So we're going to do movie film cars this week, and then in a future episode, very clearly ones that are intrinsically linked with TV.
You know it, people. This is the good stuff.
And the only thing better than this list is the TV one.
I don't know where we're going to go after the TV one. I think we're just going to have to give up. The top 10s are dead after that, right?
So without further ado, and let's not waste your time one more second, Jason, what is the first car on our list?
Oh my God. Well, it's not really a car, it's a group of cars. Ooh. And it's not the obvious one. So the film is The Italian Job, right?
Of course. The original, I take it.
Obviously original.
Good.
Was there another one after that? I don't think there was there? I think we just ignore the fact that even existed, because frankly, that was shocking. So, the original Italian Job. And some of you are sitting there thinking, is it the Miura? Is it the tractor that the Miura crashes into? Is it the van? Is it the bus?
Oh, the bus. I love the bus. I love that bus.
The bus is amazing, right? The bus is amazing. But no, this is the Mini.
So, the classic Minis.
The classic Mini. What an iconic car. What an iconic movie car. Those three cars down in and out of the streets in Italy, over the jumps, which just happened to conveniently be put there by nobody in particular, down the steps.
It's well known that Turin rooftops are full of jumps. I mean, everyone knows this, don't they?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I've been there like loads of times, and as you fly in, actually, is it? No. That bit where they go across the dam, yeah. I mean, you're only supposed to blow the bloody doors.
You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off.
You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off.
So there you go. So that's my number one. I'm going to go straight in there with a big hitter.
I agree. Like, the driving across that weird bit, the bit where they went up onto the roof of was it the Fiat factory? They had a bit of a drivey around there. They went up onto that big, what was that huge building they drove up onto as well? Like some big swoopy building, and a bit of fun there.
Yeah, they went up one side, didn't they? Went round and then came back down the other side. Conveniently, they were doing repairs to it at the time. So there was a perfect ramp.
Yeah, I was going to
all
say,
the way up onto the roof.
Yeah, just so that one bloke can presumably push a wheelbarrow up it. They constructed this pyramid-esque feat of engineering just so that they could conveniently drive Minis up and down it.
Right, okay, on to number two. Come on then, let's see what you've got against my Minis.
I mean, honestly, this is the greatest list. Every single one of these choices, I am just squealing with excitement. Number two on the list, so we're early on and already we're smashing it.
Go for it.
With the big hitters. Number two for me is the Mad Max V8 Interceptor, the last of the V8 Interceptors.
Oh my God.
I mean, I love this. Mad Max, obviously, famously a film made for almost nothing and then made ridiculous profits. It's one of the most successful films of all time, even now. But although Mel Gibson, in an early role, is supposedly the star, surely, ladies and gentlemen, it's the V8 Interceptor. The Ford Falcon XB GT, to give it its full name, that to me was the star of this film. Side exit exhausts, Concorde nose, huge exposed supercharger, black matte paint. Oh my goodness. This is one of the ultimate movie cars, I think. 1974 car it was. It was actually made by a Melbourne car customizer called Graph X International, which sadly is no longer with us. But they were commissioned to make it. They got together with a guy from Ford to create the sort of unique bolt-on Concorde nose and to just basically change the look and appearance of it to make it look more menacing. But what an iconic car. You know, you've got the roar, you have the engine, you've got the whine of the supercharger, you've got the speeded up footage to make it look like it's going much faster than it really was. Oh, I mean, just fantastic. Did you know as well, a fun fact, Jason, did you know that the Mad Max Interceptor was originally white?
Really?
Yeah, it was a white car imported into Australia.
Wow.
And then they had to repaint it. Yeah.
Matte black. Oh, so there's a couple of things that really stand out for me in that film. One of them is when he's stealing petrol into basically a dustbin lid as it's leaking out of the bottom of a car and he's pouring it in. And the other thing is the clutch on the supercharger. So the supercharger doesn't run all the time. It only runs when he engages the clutch on the gear stick, and then the supercharger clutch engages and it goes, and then hey presto,
Exactly.
Suddenly we're off. Amazing, absolutely fantastic. That truly was the star of the show.
So it currently resides at a museum in Florida, car museum, but it actually, last year, this car was put up for sale and the owner was trying to flog it.
Really?
So even as recently as 2020, someone was looking to sell this car for, reportedly, over $2 million is what he wants for it.
Really? Okay,
Yep.
that's a bit
Yep.
toppy.
For a shonky old Ford Falcon.
Yeah. That's a bit toppy, that. You know, it's worth a lot of money because of what it is, but it ain't worth $2 million. Come on, people.
Exactly. Okay, so Mr. Jason, let us have, I mean, I'm already tingling. This is just so good. I'm out of breath already. Give us your number 3 choice.
This is another massive hitter. I mean, this is a list that just keeps on giving. So this car was born of an idea from a drug dealer. He formed a company that really had no business being in business. He managed to secure enormous funds from the British government in order to produce this thing, which he promptly spent on cocaine. And
I think I might know what it is.
And
I mean, you know, obviously the clues are quite vague, but I think I might know
you
what it is.
might know what it is. It has probably one of the most iconic body finishes in automotive history. It is, of course, the DeLorean from Back to the Future. You know, I remember going to see it at the cinema when I was a little boy. Soon as that thing came on screen, everyone sat back and went, wow, look at that. I don't even remember a lot about that scene where it's dodging and the professor gets shot, because I was focused on that DeLorean. I was also focused
The
on
Libyans! It's the Libyans!
Yeah.
They found me. I don't know how, but they found me.
I was also focused on the fact that it took quite a long time for it to get to 88 miles an hour, and I thought, blimey, that accelerates very slowly, but apparently that is how
That's
they work.
authentic. It totally is, yeah, completely. It was filmed in real time.
And it's been, because of that, it's always been a car that's been, you know, sneakily at the back of your mind, you think, oh, perhaps I'd like to own one. But every single report, bar none that I've read about them, they are a complete pile of doggy doo-doos. And the majority of them have been turned into show cars because putting them on a trailer and taking them somewhere on a static stand is better than the experience of having to drive one.
Although obviously if someone offered us to drive one tomorrow, we would definitely take it.
Well, of course we would. I mean, we're not daft.
Coincidentally, I passed a broken down one on the road yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah.
Really?
I really did, yeah. I mean, surely there is no better example of a car that's integrated and woven into the mystique of the film. I mean, the very fabric of Back to the Future 1, 2 and 3 is forever sort of linked with that car. It really made it. It did a PR job on it that DeLorean never could have managed.
If that film had been around when DeLoreans were new, it would have sold in its hundreds of thousands. Let's move on. Number 4. Come on then, let's have it.
Oh yeah, number 4 is a car that, quite frankly, I could have done an entire episode on, and maybe we will in the future. This is a Bond car. It's a car that, again, had a starring role. It really gave huge injection to the fortunes of the company that made it. And there's quite a cool story attached to how they managed to even get it into the film in the first place. It is the Lotus Esprit, and it was the Bond film car for The Spy Who Loved Me in 1977. I mean, wow.
That car, what an icon. What an icon. Oh, amazing. Yeah. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Filmed in Sardinia. I mean, absolutely epic. They chose a white car specifically so that it would stand out against the landscape and also underwater, because of course, yes folks, this is a true Bond car that actually does something and contributes to the plot.
Yes.
So this is a car that was on the road and had fantastic car chases with Caroline Munro in the helicopter trying to shoot them. It was, it had so many epic moments. Probably one of the best action sequences in a Bond film is the car chase with the Esprit, and it culminates in it driving off the dock into the water, and it transforms, oh yes, into a submarine.
Oh my goodness.
It doesn't get
better. That whole scene is just incredible. And the thing that stands out the most from that film, I couldn't tell you the rest of the plot in that film, but I can tell you pretty much scene for scene, frame by frame, what happens in that car chase.
Even with a frankly pneumatic Barbara Bach in the film, it's still, that was the thing that we lusted after more even than Barbara.
All those feathers and he still can't fly.
That was the first time I did over 100 miles an hour, was in that car.
Was it?
Yeah, 3 little kids in the passenger seat of a Lotus Esprit Series 3 doing 100 miles an hour around a Belgium road.
And probably just barely over 100 miles an hour, I would imagine, in one of those.
Yeah, I think it got to 100 and that was it. But yeah, so I have very, very fond memories of that car.
The Bond team, Eon Productions, were not expecting to have this car. The PR guy at Lotus, Don McLachlan, or as they call him, Don Mac, and what he craftily did is he took the pre-production Esprit and he parked it right outside their offices at Pinewood, and in fact around Pinewood generally, and just left it there. And people had to walk around it to get to their offices, and everyone was talking about it. He removed all names off the car, so there was no way they could tell what it was. And by the end of the day, they were begging to find out what this car is. And of course, he saunters across, opens the car, gets in and drives off, and everyone's just going bananas and wanting to get this car in the film. Apparently, it cost Lotus about £17,500 to give them the Lotuses for that. But just imagine how much PR value they got as a result of it.
And he was taking a bit of a risk, just leaving it there all day and expecting it to drive away under its own steam.
Well, exactly, yeah.
But it paid off, though. I'll be all right. No, fine.
So the stuntmen in the film of The Spy Who Loved Me could not unstick this Lotus when they were trying to do the stunts, because it was so grippy and obviously different to everything that had been before. And in fact, it was one of the Lotus's own guys who was there in a sort of consultation role, who was driving it round like he normally does, properly tail out and Larry, and they saw this and said, right, we need you to drive that car in the film.
Really?
So actually they binned the stuntman and then just got, his name was Roger Becker, and they got him to actually do the stunts in the car. Amazing. And drive the car on screen. And there was actually a famous bit where they were having to reverse at speed to film one of the scenes in reverse, and because he wasn't allowed to look behind him whilst he was driving, because he was in the front car and obviously he was dressed like Roger Moore, he actually drove it off into a ditch. And here's the picture of that car in the ditch right now. Amazing. There you go, folks. There's the visual proof.
Perfect.
And my final story about this car, if it needs any more anecdotes, is that actually, do you know who bought the underwater car from the film in 2013 at the RM auctions in London?
No, it wasn't JK, was it?
It wasn't JK from Jamiroquai. It does sound like something he would do. No, yeah. Elon Musk.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he owns that car, and his plan was to put it next to in his dining room, underwater, so that as you sat and had dinner, you were looking at the real underwater car from The Spy Who Loved Me.
I mean, that's a pretty cool thing.
I know, and I know that for a fact because I was actually at that auction when it was sold. I was.
Amazing. Oh,
yeah.
Perfect.
Is that enough evidence to get it into our top 10 list? I think so.
I think that's enough evidence to get us an entire episode.
I believe we are halfway through the list, coming up to number 5, Jason.
There's 2 films I could go with this car. There's one which is a very obvious one, and probably the one that you were thinking when you saw it on the list. And this car is the Porsche 964 Turbo in black with silver wheels.
Oh.
Now tell me, what film are you thinking?
Bad Boys.
Correct, right? Bad Boys. Instantly thinking Bad Boys. However, I've got a bit of a curveball here. Ooh. So what if I said to you, Condor Man?
I would immediately think of a really shit film.
I know, right? But the car chase, lots of Porsche 911 964 turbos.
I mean, I'm
with
not
the
sure.
guy with the black helmet.
And were they really 964 turbos, or were they horribly bodied fiberglass replicas?
Well, they could have been both. But however, that's another thing. But we'll stick to the Bad Boys one.
Yeah, you're on safe ground there.
Will Smith and the other guy.
Martin Lawrence.
Will Smith and Martin Lawrence starring in a great buddy cop movie. These 2 guys, you've got a rich guy, you've got a poor guy. They live in each other's pockets. The rich guy drives this 964 Turbo. I mean, what a great film anyway. But that car, doesn't it look amazing? And in fact, Octane, our friends down at Octane, have had one in there for a little while. And every time we go there, I just lust after that car. But they are horrendously expensive now.
I think this was the 3.6 one, I'm pretty sure, in that film. And what I like about it is it was actually used. So, you know, you had them cruising at the start when they got held up. So it looked cool, sort of at slow and parked. But then at the end, they got to have that car chase, and then they rammed the guy in the Cobra and shattered his car. And they made it through that tiny little gap in the inexplicable piece of concrete and won the day.
I mean, amazing. What a brilliant car. What a great movie and what a great car.
Number 6 for me is a Cadillac Ambulance. Is that getting it? You starting to get this? Hey? This is a 1959 Cadillac professional chassis built by Miller and Meteor, originally as a hearse, but renamed and remodeled for this film as Ecto 1. That's right, it's the Ghostbusters mobile.
Oh, the Ghostbusters. Oh my God. You know, you can get a Lego version of that at the moment. They've done a new set.
I do know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably about 300 quid knowing them.
Yeah, it probably is about 300 quid. But Ecto 1, oh, such a great car. I mean, the size of a small planet, right? Probably in this country would be assigned its own postcode.
More lights on the top than Vegas.
Yeah, all those special gadgets. See, this is like the DeLorean. There's lots of a different kind of movie trickery and additional parts that they add onto these cars. It just enhances it. What a great thing.
2 things I love. Number 1, the siren, that sort of meow, meow noise. And also the fact that it was so softly sprung that you could see, as it was tearing around the streets, you could see it properly lean up on one side and then bounce all over the place. It was constantly bouncing. It never stood still, this car. And I just think, you know, it's just such a cool looking thing.
I'm pretty sure that it was a bit of a clapped out old banger when they started using it. I don't think it was a brand pristine example.
No, they were totally screwed. And actually, there were 3 Ecto 1s made,
right,
and only 2 now survive. They had to scrap one of them because it was in such terrible shape. And the reason why they're in terrible shape is once they'd finished the film, they just parked. All 3 of these were just parked at the Sony lot. And they just left them outside. Just parked them up, left them, threw away the keys or whatever, and that was it. And they stayed there for like 20 years.
Until someone went, oh, they might be a bit valuable.
They restored 2 of them, but the other one was beyond economical repair, even for an Ecto 1.
I'm going to take you up a level again now, right?
Oh, baby.
Because we had a massive hit at the beginning. The adrenaline was running. We've calmed you down with a couple in the middle. But now I just got to bring you back up again. This is a black Pontiac Trans-Am with a gold Firebird on the front. 6.6 litre conversion. T-top, gold wheels. It is, of course, the Smokey and the Bandit car.
Oh, I was going to say, is Burt Reynolds in our future? And yes, he is.
He's got to be, right? And he's going to make more than one appearance, let's be honest.
Of course.
But, I mean, just there are entire car clubs in the US that are devoted to people who own both the truck, fully painted, and the Trans Am.
Oh my God, really?
Really, this is a
People have got the
massive,
truck.
They've got the truck and the black car. What a great car! Everything about that car. When he's chasing, the police are chasing him. That's what made me want to get a CB radio when I was a kid. We wanted to be the bandit. Everybody wanted to be the bandit. In fact, I still want to be the bandit. Oh, I keep watching clips of it on YouTube because it's just so good.
I don't remember anything about the film Smokey and the Bandit. I don't remember anything about it.
Don't remember the cop with his dumbass son?
I do a bit, yeah.
He goes, when I get home, I'm going to kick your mama in the arse. You know, all of
I
that.
don't remember as much about him as I do Sheriff J.W. Pepper from The Man with the Golden Gun. I remember more about him than I do of, who is it, like Buford T. Justice? or something, isn't it?
Buford T. Justice, yeah. Bandit. Oh, brilliant film. Brilliant film.
I do love it, and I love that car, I have to say.
You're going to have to
fantastic.
watch it again. You've got to watch it all over again.
I pledged to watch Smokey and the Bandit straight after recording this.
Of course you do.
I bloody will as well, because I've got else to do. Number 8 is a bit of a curveball, but those in the know will applaud my entry of this into the list wholeheartedly. Number 8, the car for me, iconic movie, is the Wagon Queen family Truckster from National Lampoon's Vacation. Oh yes, we are talking an enormous Ford Country Squire that is painted in green with wood panelling on it. It is a 5-litre V8. It's a 1979 car. It was actually created for the film and customised by George Barris, who was the same guy, I think, who did the 60s Batmobile. Again, this was the star of the film. Chevy Chase was the star. Beverly D'Angelo was the star, and we saw a lot of Beverly in that film, which for a young boy like me watching that film was very gratefully received. But this car had so many classic moments in there, whether it was them all falling asleep in it and it sort of veering off, the fact that someone sprayed honky lips on the side, the fact that it lost all the hubcaps, the fact that it done a big 50-yard jump into the desert. I mean, it just had so many great moments. Here's a little special story. In 2019, someone in America paid $100,000 at a Barrett Jackson auction for a replica of this car, a perfect replica. Yeah.
$100,000.
And frankly, I applaud you, whoever that was. You are my new hero, because this would just be the greatest car to have in the garage.
Oh, you'd need another garage. That thing is absolutely enormous.
So if you remember at the start of the film, he basically took his car in for trade-in, and he was going to take his whole family cross-country to Wally World, and they, at the garage, the dealership stiffed him completely and gave him this car rather than the one that he'd ordered. And in the meantime, his car had been crushed. So it's just classic. Good to see.
Didn't they get to Wally World and it was shut?
That's right, they did. They did.
Oh, amazing. Okay, so number 9 on our list.
Yes. It better be a good one.
I think this is probably my favourite car of all time, regardless of the fact that it's a movie car as well. And that is pertinent to the picture over my left shoulder, which of course is the Cannonball Run. And this made it to the front of the pet poster as well. This is, of course, is the Lamborghini Countach. That black Countach right at the beginning, honestly, and I know I'm going to sound like a massive girl when it comes to this, but that's still, that opening sequence where we see the Lamborghini being chased by the cop car. We've been chasing that Lamborghini for 2 hours. Didn't take us that long to catch Dillinger. That, right, that still brings a tear to my eye. It makes me all emotional.
Of course it does.
Makes me all
Does it do anything fizzy to your winky?
Well, obviously, yes, of course. The noise of that V12 screaming down the American highway, and even that's got speeded up footage, but I don't care. I ignore the speeded up footage.
And I'm trying to work out, I know that the little wing thing on the front of the car was obviously complete nonsense. There was
added.
None of them were added for that. But wasn't it the rear wing as well? And was it the Cannonball Run that inspired the Lamborghini to actually offer the wing on the rear as well, or was it the front?
No, it was just the front. The front wing was created for the movie, so they could hang spotlights from it, because there was nowhere else to put spotlights. And then obviously at that point, everybody decided they wanted one. Brock Yates actually owns that car. It was his personal Lambo, and that car has changed hands. It still exists and it's still around today, and someone somewhere owns it. And there was a picture of it a few years ago where someone had put, basically they'd taken an exhaust for each of the cylinders, so it had 12 exhausts across the back or something ridiculous like that. They really made a complete hash of it. But yeah, that car is still around and it still exists somewhere in someone's collection. Someone has that car. But I would literally sell a kidney to have the opportunity to own that car. And if I ever manage to make enough money to buy a Countach, I'm going to have that front wing. I know it looks silly. I know it's not original, but I don't care.
Okay, well, number 10 on the list. To be honest, after the ones we've gone through, this feels like a bit too sensible and boring. Actually, I'm almost half disappointed to reveal what is largely classed as one of the greatest movie cars of all time. No list about movie cars can be without this one. It's the Aston Martin DB5 from Goldfinger and Thunderball and Goldeneye, and let's face it, all the modern Bond films, because they stick it in to give everyone a warm feeling in a Bond film now. This is the DB5, which ran from I think 1963 to 1966, so it was the current model at the time. Fleming, incidentally, originally wrote, I think, Bond with a DB3 for this plot, but they obviously changed it to the DB5 because it was the current model. And it was quite instrumental in creating the fortunes of Aston Martin. I mean, it was one of those just absolute perfect collaborations between a car and a film, and they came together, and ever since it has been one of the most desirable cars ever made.
Yeah, and it's a stunningly beautiful car anyway. You combine that with Sean Connery, and beautiful countryside, and then suddenly, and then every boy's fantasy is then relived because the indicator move out the way and machine guns point out, and the number plates switch, and you've got oil slicks and ejector seats and all of the gadgets you could possibly ever want as a young boy as well. I mean,
yeah, bulletproof screen, telephone, wheel slashers, extending bumpers, ejector seat. Come on. I mean, wow.
So I don't think it's a bad addition to the list. I think it's an
obvious one, isn't it? It's a bit predictable.
It is too. But you could have gone with the DB5 from the Cannonball Run and linked the last two together, you see.
That's true. I was going to mention that. It is, of course, in the Cannonball Run as well, which, does give it an extra seal of approval from the car guys. It's just one of the prettiest cars, in silver birch, that classic colour, with the gadgets. Aston Martin has obviously recently done the continuation one where they took those cars and they recreated modern versions with gadgets. So you can technically these days buy a brand new one of those for quite a few million quid. I think they made 3 original film cars. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they definitely made 2 promo cars. So after the film was made, Eon paid for 2 promo cars, and both of those cars were bought by Lord Bamford, who is a renowned car collector in the UK. He was the founder of JCB, and he bought both of those in 1969. Then a year later, this is where the story gets so brilliant that you wouldn't believe it. So he bought both. He got tired of one of them and sold it on later on, and it's currently sort of, it's been auctioned a few times. But one of the cars, one of his mates said in 1970, "Oh wow, I really love that. Can I have it?" And he agreed to sell it to him. But what he did is he traded his DB5 promo car, not a film car, promo car. He traded it for a Ferrari 250 GTO.
No.
which Bamford still owns and is worth approximately 50 to 70 million pounds.
Holy shit.
So even the film promo cars, they're probably worth 2, 3, 4 million quid.
Yeah, but they're no 250 though, are they?
Yeah, that was quite a good trade. But if you thought the list was good, How do you fancy reliving some of these honourable mentions? I mean, this goes to prove how big the list could have been. Honourable mentions, Lightning McQueen from Cars, Christine, the Plymouth Fury from Christine, the Stephen King film or novel film, the classic Steve McQueen Bullet Mustang, the Eleanor Mustang from Gone in 60 Seconds, which is apparently, you know, a little bit of a sort of hodgepodge car, the Lamborghini Murcielago from Batman Begins, which gets crashed pretty quickly, the Ferrari 250 GT California, which most people tie in with Ferris Bueller's and thinks should be in the main list. The reason why we didn't put it in the list is because the one in the film was a replica, wasn't a real car. Anything from the Fast and Furious, honourable mention to those, but just not really our thing. And also, for me, this one was so close to getting in, and I know it's not really a real car, but it was so close. The 6000 SUX from Robocop. I would have loved to put that in the list. Love that car.
I'm undeniable about putting this in the list, but here we go. Herbie.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what I'm going to say. That's it then. No. the Honda NSX from Pulp Fiction.
Of course. Lovely, which I technically own an example of.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. One of the most iconic cars of ever.
It really
Another
is.
book by Ian Fleming.
Yeah, it really is. It's very iconic. It's definitely a movie car. But my problem with Chitty Chitty Bang Bang is he's just a bit too smug.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, moving swiftly on then. Ferrari 355 from The Rock.
Yeah, lovely car, yellow.
Another great car. Lincoln Continental from
Yes.
The Car.
Yes, yeah, I love this film. You can't get it anywhere at the moment, but I love The Car. It's a brilliant sort of horror film.
Porsche 928 from Risky Business.
Oh, how did this not get in? Oh,
I mean, one of Tom Cruise's lesser known films, but also amazing. Mm-hmm. Dodge Challenger from Vanishing Point.
yes.
Basically just a movie shot in a car.
Yes, exactly.
One of the cheapest budget movies ever made. And this final one, this is the last honourable mention, the AMC Pacer from Wayne's World.
From Wayne's World, yes, of course.
Excellent.
Oh, amazing. So there you are. We've got that's our top 10 favourite movie cars. This has been an incredibly fun episode to film, and I hope that you found it entertaining at home.
And I'm spent.
But don't forget, people, we have the Car Guys top 10 TV cars coming very soon.
I'm honestly ready for a lie down right now. That was absolutely mega. Don't forget to subscribe, ding the notification bell for when we have another episode uploaded. Find us on Instagram, our website and Facebook.
There'll be another Car Guys episode along next week.